working as a product manager in the international marketing division at Conica Europe. I have the pleasure today to introduce to you the AccurioPress C7100 series. And here with me, I have Knut.
Hi, I'm Knut. I'm working for Conica Europe as well as sales support manager, and today I'm playing the role of the customer.
Okay, great. Let's jump into the demo of the machine. As we are a Japanese company, and all Japanese companies printing from the right to the left. And here in this demo, we are following the paper. So let's start here from the very right, where we have one of our paper feeding trays. We call it the PF812, and it is a banner feeding tray. So let me open it. And you can see it's all metal based. So it's a very robust paper feeder, and you can see already the long sheets we can put in here, because the maximum format here is 330 by 900 millimeters.
Carl, can I also place ordinary paper sizes into that unit, such as A4 or SRA3?
Yes, Knut, you can. So the paper capacity of this unit is different depending on the paper length. So here for the 900 millimeters, for example, it can go up to 2,300 sheets. If you have SAR3 or A4 or A3 paper sizes, it can go up to 3,700 sheets. And as you can see, we have 3 trays in total here in that modules, where you have the split of these paper sheets.
That's very good, because it keeps up my system's flexibility in regards to paper sizes and paper weight.
Good point. I didn't mention the paper weight so far. So this unit can handle paper weights from 52 up to 350 GSM. And the lower paper feeder, or the lower tray here, if it is the first next to the machine, it can handle up to 400 GSM. So let's move here to the next unit. I will open it again. So here I open the special tray, as this unit is the next to the machine. The lower paper tray, due to the straight paper path, can handle all special material. Would apply same way to the PF812. So here we have, for example, some embossed paper, which is again supported here from this tray, as well as envelopes. I like to mention that both PFs have the trusted and well-known vacuum feeding. You may remember from the offset world. It is, in my eyes, the most reliable paper feeding technology. In addition to that, we also have separation, air separation mechanism here. So here from the left and from the right and from the front, air is blown into the paper tray to separate the paper before feeding. Last but not least, we also can apply a heating unit to dry the paper in the tray. As we are working with pressure and heat, water is not always the best match in the printing process, and with this heating unit we can dry the paper before feeding.
That sounds promising, Carl. How many paper feed units can be installed in total, and what's the maximum paper capacity then? So from these units here, this is a PF713, which has a scanner on top, and it has a capacity of 4,630 sheets. You can have up to 3 of them. Of course not the 713, then we have the 712 in addition, where you don't have the scanner, but there you can have 3 of them. And on top of that, you also can have a bypass unit for another 250 sheets, so that in total you have a capacity of 14,140 sheets at a maximum paper capacity. If you have the PF812, the PF812 can be the one and only next to the machine, or can be as it's configured here with one additional PF. And then you have the 4,630 sheets plus the 3,700 sheets as paper capacity. You could have a bypass tray here as well for another 250 sheets. I like to mention the bypass tray because from there you can handle the longest paper sizes of this machine.
In the PFL 812 you can do up to 900 millimeters. With the bypass tray you can go up to 1300 millimeters.
Carl, the banner sheet sizes placed in the banner feed tray can be printed in duplex. Is
That's
that right?
correct. Correct. So the machine prints maximum duplex lengths up to 900 millimeter. In addition to the paper trays we just mentioned, we also have a so-called LU208 and LU208XL. This is a one tray module where you can put up to 2,500 sheets into it. Paper weights is up to 350 GSM. The LU208 can go up to the 487 millimeters paper length, and the LU208XL can go up to 762 millimeters. So that's so far from the paper. Let's move to the next one, to the main body. So the blue part here is the main body of the machine. Here in this case we have the AccurioPress C7100, and it is also available as the AccurioPress C7100. I will open it. So this is the inside of the machine. We have here on the right, and you see it has a separate door, so you don't need to open the whole unit. We can see the two units here. The machine, the AccurioPress C7100, prints with a printing speed in A4 color with 100 pages a minute, and in monochrome 110 pages a minute. It is in A3 speed of 57 and an SAR3 of 53. The C7090 has in color A4 speed of 90 pages a minute, and monochrome the same speed as the bigger brother, so the 110 pages. In A4 per minute it can go up to 48 SAR3 pages a minute.
What you are saying, Kalle, is that both units are relatively faster when printing to large sizes in comparison with A4. So they are faster than 100 ppm then in this case.
Correct, and that's a good hint, Knut. So if you look, for example, here the 7100 does 100 pages in A4 a minute, but it does 57 in A3. So if you would have two A4s on one A3, it calculates up to 114 pages in A4 per minute. Yes, exactly.
So that's very attractive because it boosts up my productivity.
Yeah, it does. And the machine is very productive. So if I look to the pages per hour, the C7100 prints 5,600 sheets per hour, roundabout. SAR3 speed per hour is on the 7100 close to 3,000 sheets, so 2,900 something. And the 7090 does 2,685 sheets in SAR3 per hour.
Carl, what's interesting for me, what's the maximum print volume per month?
Yeah, and this is of course one of the most important figures. So the maximum, so duty cycle, peak volume, however you want to call it, on the C7100 is 1.8 million. On the 7090 it is 1.62 million. However, we have an optimum volume, and there the max is around 480,000 prints a month on all this data are on A4. On the 7100, on the 7090 we have 375,000 prints a month in A4.
All these figures are very impressive because the unit looks very compact.
Yeah, that's true. And this is really one of the key in the whole development of the system. What we learned from a lot of customers all around the world, and especially in some of our European countries, is that size is premium. So many people don't have so much space really to install a machine. So therefore a compact design is very appreciated. And this is where we put the focus in the development. So we have a lot of technologies from the bigger brothers, from the little sister, and we put it all together here and build a successor which is more compact as its predecessor. The predecessor of this machine was the AccurioPress C7100, for example. So this technology is really getting smaller, but smaller doesn't mean less reliable or less capable, right? If you look to smartphones, for example, if you see the development over the last years, right? I still remember my satellite phone, which was a heavy thing, and now I have a thing which is not even the size of my hand and can do much more. And it's a similar story here. So the technology gets more compact, but still, or even more capable. So let's open it a bit more so that you can see the paper pass. This is the paper pass of the machine, and you can see it is very straight. One thing I like to add here to the toner units. So I opened the toner boxes before, but here include or inside is our new Symmetry V toner. This is the same toner as we use in the big brother, the AccurioPress C14000, and then has a lot of advantages. For example, it creates a more matte finish. Again, a lot of our customers ask for more matte, as our previous toner was kind of glossy, which was very appreciated at some time, but now a lot of people really asking for matte toner, and we learned it's easier to start with a matte finish and go to glossy than vice versa. So again, this one is more matte. Also, it has a lower fusing temperature, and temperature is always, or has always impact on the paper. So therefore, the less the temperature, the easier you can print on different kind of substrates. And on top of that, the particle size is a bit smaller. Why is it important? Again, we talked about embossed paper before. To go into the values of these kind of embossed papers, it's important that the particles are quite small. And last but not least, this new toner has also less electrostatic, so you can easier print on plastic or PVC kind of papers.
So you're saying this Symmetry V is giving me better quality, as well as that the appearance of my prints are coming closer to the appearance of offset prints.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly. And this toner also comes with our new resolution. So this machine has a resolution of 1200 by 2400 by 8-bit. So we talk about a resolution of 3600 by 2400 dpi equivalent. This is much higher as we had on the predecessor, and really gives you much nicer images and better gradations.
Talking about offset, can you say something about the front to back registration accuracy of the system?
Of course.
Is that good?
So we do have an active registration, and the active registration basically does two things. If the paper comes like this, so a bit skewed into the system, we have rollers which are independent from each other to make sure that the paper always goes straight and even into the transfer process. Furthermore, we have a shifting mechanism to move the paper always in the exact same position to the transfer. And this helps definitely to create a very reliable, robust, and precise registration.
So this is just the physical treatment of paper feeding, in addition to the, let's say, electronical way we use for the correction of these figures.
Correct. On top of that, as the paper is organic, right, it can change its behavior due to the fusing process. We also have a kind of registration control after the fusing, which we do with the IQ501, which I will touch a bit later here in the demonstration. Yes? Okay, next part here is, and it's another key in the whole printing, at least in the toner-based printing process. This is the fusing unit. You see, it's very compact, but it's very capable as well. So what I didn't mention, the speed we talked earlier before, is independent from the paper weight. So we can do 100 pages here with the 7100 series on 52 as well as on 400 GSM. So always the same speed, and this is due to this new developed fusing unit. Furthermore, we have a kind of shifting mechanism. So if you have small size paper, which are a bit thicker, and print after that long or bigger size paper, you sometimes in the past could see some stripes on the bigger size paper. Due to this shifting mechanism, the stripes are not there anymore, or not that easily created anymore. Furthermore, we have I like to call it air knife. It is actually an air blow system to separate the paper from the fusing belt, because especially low paper weights tend to glue or stick to the fusing belts, so therefore it's important to separate them, and this is done here on this machine. We are an air knife.
That impresses me, Carl. You just said it prints heavy paper stuff, including embossed paper, at the same speed rate of 80 GSM ordinary plain paper?
Correct.
And it also leads me to the question, can I print envelopes with the unit?
Yes, you can. You can print envelope with this unit. You have an extra envelope fusing unit, and with that one you can print 100% speed on envelopes. But if you have just small volume of envelopes, then the regular fuser is, of course, enough for that.
Very good.
And as you mentioned, embossed paper, one thing I really like to add here is in our transfer system, we have also some new technology. We call it pressure release mechanism. So we really can control the pressure of the transfer depending on the paper. Why is it important? Especially again, if you're printing on embossed or structured paper, it is important that the pressure is adapted to this kind of paper, again, to really go into the bellies of these kind of papers. And this is done here with this unit, and I like to say this is really the best machine in regards of structured paper we at Konica-Minolta ever developed. So that's pretty much to the main unit.
Very impressive, I can say.
One thing I like to show is a hidden feature. No, it's not too hidden, but we have also a paper tray underneath of the engine. So this one is for another 1,000 sheets, where you can apply kind of normal papers. I personally wouldn't go too much for coated papers here, because here it's friction feeding, and this is sometimes a bit tricky.
But it's very helpful, because we have some short runs in between, which are good to be printed on ordinary plain paper, and we have this tray in reserve for these types of jobs.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, then we have, I call it engine addition. So some units which are next to the engine but are not finishing. So they are more quality related. The first one here is our RU unit. We call it RU 518M, or conveyance unit. I will open it here. And in standard, it does a mechanical decurling, right? Due to, again, our process of printing with the heat and the pressure, some papers get kind of wavy or curly. And with that, you have a mechanical decurling to smoothen the paper after printing. It also extends the the paper path a bit to dry and cool down, not really dry, but to cool down the paper. Because if it is too hot, it sometimes could cause problems in the after process, as well as it will reduce electrostatic. This unit is also equipped with a sub tray. On this sub tray, you can even output the banner sheets, 900 millimeters or 1300 millimeters. And it can be used as a purge tray as well. If I would have a paper jam later in my line, all paper before the paper jam will be put out here to that sub tray.
One question, Carl, we often have to print to offset papers which naturally are more humidified, and actually paper coming out of an ordinary digital system is too dry. Is there any way to compensate this part?
Yes, we have an option here for this unit, which is a humidifier. So it's really a water tank you can apply into the RU518, and then the water is put back to the paper. I talked earlier about the drying of the paper, and here we can apply back the water to the paper, as you said, and some after processes. If the paper is too dry, you cause paper jams and these kind of things. So therefore, it will be applied back. On top of that, it also helps in decurling the paper and removing the electrostatic further on this kind of magnets.
That's very helpful for me because it also improves the reliability for further finishing.
Correct. So that was the RU518N. So the next one I want to show you is the IQ501, which is our intelligent quality care unit. It consists of 2 scanners and a spectrophotometer. So with the 2 scanners we can inspect every single sheet on both sides, and with the spectrophotometer we can read the colors which are printed. Why is this interesting? One of the biggest pain points in printing, at least in my eyes, is the duplex registration. We talked about it that this machine is already very stable, but before I print I need to understand the characteristics of the paper, how it will change due to the fusing process. Here with this IQ501, I just put in my paper into the paper tray, push the green button, and a special test form is printed, which is read by the IQ501, and all the duplex registration settings are done automatically. This can be done before the job and during the job. Similar thing can be done with color. So also the complete color management, like profiling, calibration, can be done with this unit. And last but not least, we also have a kind of quality control mechanism, which we call AQA, auto quality adjustment, where you print again a special test chart, and the scanner will look onto the sheet if there is any problem, like toner dust, like smearing, like whatever it is, it will detect it and find it out and will report it back to you, so that you know before you print your job that everything is okay with this machine.
That unit impresses me very much, Carl. As you are saying, it keeps my print quality stable in long runs in regards to front to back registration as well as color stability. Front to back is an issue with banner sizes. Can I use that unit to optimize front to back registration quality for banner paper sizes?
Yes, you can. So this unit supports up to 900 millimeter. So the maximum duplex length is supported by this IQ501 as well. Which brings us to the next unit. I talked about the inspection already before you printing, and we can do this inspection during printing as well. With the so-called Ait Auto Inspection technology, we can observe, control every single sheet during your production and see if there is any dirt, any stains, any dots or stripes or streaks, whatever it is. We can see that during the production, and the bad sheets are sorted out, and the rest is always printed in addition, so you can be sure in your final stack is always the quantity you wanted. This inspection can be enhanced with variable data inspection, where we can check about QR codes or barcodes or numbers, and we also can do a kind of proofreading, so we can check via CSV files the barcodes, QR code numbers you have printed with what is in your database, so to be sure that all your records are really printed. That's the end. So this was all the ancient editions we have. On top of that, of course, as we are we are talking about a digital press, we have a lot of inline finishing. I will not go into details here right now, but we have a lot of different kind of finishing. For example, in regards of booklet makers, we have a choice of booklet makers For example, the one you see here, which is our own developed SD513, but we're working, for example, with Blockmatic as well, and offer some of their solutions in regard of booklet maker. It depends pretty much on your volume, on your quality expectation and your reliability expectation, which is the right choice in regards of booklet making for your system. Here we are standing in front of our TU510, which is our trimming unit, where you can do a 4-inch trimming, where you can do creasing, where you can do postcard or business card cutting, everything in line, so you really produce a finished product at the end, which you can directly put into a box and ship. Furthermore, we have a perfect binding system, so glue binder, where you can create or produce perfect bound books. We have a GBC puncher and a GBC binder. We have a max binder for plastic coil binding. We have a stapling unit, and of course we have a stacker as well. So if you have already existing finishing, we can use a so-called LS507, a stacking unit, where you can create big stacks of paper, which you then can move to your final finishing. That's pretty much the demonstration for today. I hope you liked it.
Me too.
If you have questions, please get in touch with us.
Giving shape to ideas. Konica Minolta.